Okay, so we're making an instructional video for UTC I0150. This is a 150 joules Charpy tester. Charpy tester works by placing a specimen, a notch specimen, beneath that hammerhead there, raising that arm all the way up to 150 degrees and then dropping it. The specimen is then broken, absorbing some of that energy, affecting the angle that the arm swings to, and hence indicating the amount of energy that was impacted by the specimen. The specimen is generally ejected out into the reject bin just there. This Charpy tester is fully automated and has a number of safety features. Okay, so this doorway here is the only access to the machine, unless of course students remove any of these. Okay, so care should be taken to ensure that none of these screws are loosened or any of these are removed. There is a door lock, a solenoid door lock safety switch on this particular door. Okay, and that will only open when it is safe to do so and when the machine is on. Okay, so let's get started with regards to the operation. First thing to do is to check that the power is on and that the machine is plugged in, and then we need to switch the machine on. Here's the main control unit back here. You shouldn't really need to do anything back here except know that it's here, and then we also have our on switch just here. Okay, everything else is set up to run and programmed as it should. Now that we've switched the machine on, we can come up to the controller and we'll go through its startup process. You can see that there's an emergency off switch just here. So we get to the Utest page, and then if I click on it, it should get to that position. Now you can see that at this point I can't open this door. That solenoid is fully down. This door can't be unlocked. I can't load my specimen. I can't do anything that could injure myself. On the controller we have the main buttons, which are the play button, the settings button and the data recall button. We then have an indication of the hammer angle, the velocity, the potential energy, and also the rise and fall angle of the hammer. We also have the specimen number, which indicates the data logging for the machine, and then also the amount of energy that's absorbed, which is obviously the Charpy test result that we're most interested in. If we go into the settings button, we come to this screen. Again, we now have a home button, a release button, a stop button, and a tools button. We then have a button here next to the angle, which is just essentially to tear the angle, so we'll tear that right now. Now it's 0, it's hanging in the 0 position, so that is correct. We then also have a target angle, which if I click onto that, will allow me to manually input an angle between negative 152 and positive 152. So I could potentially type that in, press enter, and then when I go into, I'm not going to put in anything at the moment, but then if I go into here and I want to put it to a specific angle, then I need to press that button. We heard it click because it's trying to move it to 0 degrees. We also have the manual and previous page buttons down at the bottom here. Okay. The manual, if I click on that, it will go to automatic, and we'll have an explanation of exactly what that means with regards to the usage of the equipment in a minute. Okay, so we want to do a test. Essentially, to start off, the only way that we can open up this door and the only way that that safety switch will unlock is if the hammer is in the home position. To get it into the home position, we click on the home button and we hear it all come to life. and the impact hammer is loading up to its home position. You can see here that we have a knob and then a hook which will mechanically hold the hammer in this home position once it's there. Once engaged, that hook won't disengage unless it's safe to do so. Even if the power is off, the hook will stay in position. Okay? Now, at this point, because we have it loaded to home, the next thing that we're going to want to do is put a specimen in. So we would open the door. Hey presto, the door opens because it's in the manual position, it's in the home position. And then we can load our Charpy specimen into there. It would generally be a notch specimen. These are fairly common. You'll just need to have a look at the standards. We can see that there's a broken one just over here from a previous test. Once we've got it loaded, we can then close the door. Now, we have two ways of doing a test. Okay, we can run it as manual or we can run it as automatic. So let's run through the the manual, because that's what it's set to at the moment. Now what I would do is I would go to previous page and I would press play. And the test is going to start as soon as I press play. So I'm just going to stand back and watch what happens after I press this. It's released it, and then the hook allows it to swing. And then it locks at the top position, at the finishing position, and then goes back to home, engaging the lock, and now the door can be opened. Okay. So the other way that we can do a test is that we can go to here and we can press, I'm going to open this door, we can press auto, and then we go to the previous page. Now, effectively how this one works is that as soon as I close the door, it's going to run the test, and then it's going to go back to home. And then, so effectively, in that automatic, it just completely automates the entire process. So once I close this, it's now gone down onto the hook, and then it releases, and it does the test. So essentially the difference between the two modes is that in manual I need to press the play button. In automatic I just need to open and close the door. Remembering that at both points in time, or whenever, the door has to be closed for it to disengage. Okay? So running through a few extra bits and pieces here, we're up to specimen 8, so we can go through and we can have a look at the information that's inside of the machine at the moment. We've been running a whole lot of tests without any specimens, so that's why we've got the first 7 essentially have 0 energy being absorbed. Number 8 is the next one. There's basically 50 points that we can fill, and when we get to the end of those 50 points, it then starts to rewrite. So that's what's actually occurred with regards to this, where we've replaced up to number 7 at this point. We still have from 8 to 50 from the previous set of data log on the machine. Okay, so we can go back to the previous page and we can go back into the settings. We'll put it back onto manual. My advice would be to run it on manual. I like the idea of pressing the play button to start, but automatic will save you a few seconds in regards to having to close the door and then press start. But apart from that, either or, depending on what your choices are. When it's in this home position, just to indicate, I'm going to go and turn the power off of the mains and see what happens. So here's the mains. I'm going to switch that off. I'm going to keep looking at this. It's off, but it's locked in position. So heaven forbid, if the power goes off at any point, nothing can occur. Thank you very much.